Think back to when you were 5 years old. You had a very different personality. You had a very different body. You had completely different thoughts. Different things made you laugh. You were, in almost all respects, a very different person. But you would never question the fact that that was you. Why? What is it that carries over? Because our thoughts and our body and our personality doesn't carry over. So what is it? It is awareness. It is the sense of being. It is the experience of being here right now. That is what carries over. Now, if you accept that the awareness behind the eyes of that 5-year-old child is the same as the awareness behind your eyes, regardless of the fact that you had a different body and a different personality and different thoughts, is that really much different than saying the awareness behind my eyes is the same as the awareness behind your eyes? That awareness is simply here. It's in me and it's in you, and it's behind the eyes of every person who has ever looked out and wondered, what is this? This might sound like a strange idea, but people have been coming to this conclusion for thousands of years across the whole world. Every tradition that goes deep enough into this question arrives at the same answer, that consciousness is fundamental, that the contents of consciousness arise and fall away, but consciousness itself remains the same. Consciousness is the open space in which everything arises. The Upanishads, some of the oldest spiritual texts in the world, keep returning to the same idea. They say tat tvam asi, you are that. Not you, the personality or the name or the body, but you, the awareness behind it all. That awareness is the ground of everything. Rumi, the Sufi mystic, put it beautifully when he said, the lamps are different, but the light is the same. Saying that each one of us is like a different lamp, a different shape, a different size, a different colour, but the light that comes from it comes from the same source. It's one light appearing through many forms. And even some of the greatest scientific minds in history have started to arrive at this same conclusion. Max Planck, the founder of quantum theory, came to this conclusion and said that he considered consciousness to be fundamental. So how do you actually feel this instead of just think about it? Well, the most direct path is a steady practice of resting in open awareness. So it doesn't involve concentration or intensely focusing on one particular thing. It is sitting in silence and just paying attention to whatever arises. Let sounds come and go around you. Notice sensations and feelings in the body. Notice thoughts as they arise and fall away again. There is no judgment of whatever is happening. There is complete acceptance. No clinging or grasping, just paying attention to whatever there is. Over time, you start to see that your thoughts are arriving in consciousness, and they are temporary and they are fleeting and they are not who you are. And that is the same for everything else that arises within consciousness. Everything that you see and feel and hear and think, all of these things are fleeting and they're not who you are. What remains when all of those things fall away is a constant, steady awareness. And if that awareness isn't made of thoughts or memories or personality, then the border between my awareness and your awareness becomes harder to define. That is why Meister Eckhart said, the eye with which I see God is the eye with which God sees me. He was describing what happens when you follow awareness all the way back, past thoughts, past personality, past the boundary of the individual self, and you see that the seeing itself is shared. It is the awareness that you experienced when you were 5 years old, and it is the same awareness that you will experience when you are 90 years old. It is the one thing that does not change. If this has raised more questions than answers, then maybe continue the discussion by watching this video next, or maybe take some time, sit in silence, and rest in open awareness.